afternoon, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Disha. Alright, so shall we begin without wasting much time? This we have done, yeah, okay. So we were here on evaluation. The people are also joining. Okay. So you all can see the slide? Yeah. So what do you think the evaluation of something is? Let's understand from you first. So suppose you have run a training program. Yeah, please carry on.
Ma'am, to sum up something, like if we are doing any task, to sum up those tasks, how actually we did it, something like that. Evaluation is something.
What is something like that?
I believe, ma'am, evaluation is something in which we take out the positive and the negative points of any particular topic, and we give kind of conclusion to that. By that we can improve the negative points, and by that we can praise the positive points.
Okay. So, chalo, let's take this as example. All of you created a design of a training program, right? So now just imagine that the same training program you have already imparted also. You have facilitated the training, you gave the training also. So now how will you ensure that you get to know whether people has really changed after the training or things have really happened in the way you wanted to happen? What will you do?
By keeping a track of their performance.
By keeping a track on their performance, correct? That's one point. What else can be done?
By giving them a kind of form in which they can kind of evaluate or assess the training. How was it and how was their experience?
So that's a feedback form, but will that evaluate? Will it measure the training effectiveness or how successful the training has been? It might give a little idea, say in just suppose it's a 2 days program or 1 day program like all of you designed. Immediately after the training program, if you are taking a feedback, what will happen? People will talk about the trainer was good, the communication was good, whatever they said we understood, right? This is the most of the things, that's what you can do. But about the content, about the knowledge or the skill that we wanted to give to them, how can you evaluate that? That is the question. That is the measurement. Because feedback is totally different. Feedback is getting to know whether the total program was successful in terms of knowledge given and knowledge taken, received. But what about looking into the details, whether skills that has been learned? So for example, let's take this example of ISI course, right? So in 6 months, whatever you have learned, how will we evaluate at the end of the 6 months that all of you have studied something or have you understood something? On what basis are we going to evaluate? Do you know?
On the basis of tests or participation in the classroom.
Okay, that's one point. What else can be done?
Interview basis, on the interview basis.
Okay, we will conduct interviews. What else? Have you seen some changes in you? Have you found out something has changed since the first class to now?
1 minute. 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 1 minute
Yes, ma'am, a lot in various ways.
All right, in various ways. Hima, what you have
Ma'am,
to
you
say?
can check the growth graph of the particular student.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can check the growth graph. That's talking about statistics now. Very good. This is the language that I like. Right, and that is what we are going to talk about in effectiveness also. That there are certain metrics, there is a complete topic on HR metrics that we will go through. But because we are talking about training right now, so let's talk about training metrics right away so that you can understand what training metrics are all about. Right? The similar way that you did in KRA KPI method, that there were some qualitative things that you can write down and then you can measure your performance on those qualitative things and quantitative both. Correct? The similar thing can happen for training. So how can it happen for training? What can you evaluate?
Their performance after the training.
Alright, yes, your performance after the training. Let's say over a period of 3 months or 6 months. That is the kind of timeline we can associate with the metrics. Right? What else can be done? Can we talk it through employee satisfaction survey? Can we get to know about it? That can be one of the metrics.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we look into the performance of every individual and see how much they have improved over a period of time? Right?
Yes, ma'am, we can.
Because most of the organization will have what? Most of the organization will have a report card kind of a thing or an evaluation chart of every employee before they attended the training program. Right? That's when the need arises that they need to go undergo a training program. Right? That can be basically your performance management system, maybe a balanced scorecard system or anything that can be there before the training program. Now after the training has been undergone, the participants have undergone the training or the employees have undergone the training, what will happen? Immediately after the training, they are not going to do any kind of evaluation, right, on the training program. Maybe after a week or maybe after a month or maybe over a period of 3 to 6 months, they will now start looking at the performance of the individual, maybe with the help of the trainer who has provided that training, or maybe individually looking and observing into the kind of details that has changed over a period of time. Right? For example, if you remember on this particular Sunday, when after your presentation I shared my feedback on each one of you, the presentations, right? And I said specifically one thing, that you should look into the way you presented your first slide to us. And now after a gap of 4 or 5 months, when we are doing these presentations again, there is a huge amount of change. And how could we compare both these two performance of same individual? Because we have been observing you, because we have a record and data which was pre-recorded when you joined the classes, and then now after almost the classes are over, then also we have a data through which we can evaluate how much the skills or knowledge has changed in you. Maybe also the way all of you presented. In fact, that has also changed. A lot more confidence, a better communication. I don't think you have ever prepared such good PPTs for even after we were giving 1 week's time. You could do it in just 1 day's time. So that was also a very impressive point. And that is the reason why I wrote that feedback, right? So this evaluation is basically judged with two comparison points, one before the training that we have and one after the training that we have, so that you can look into the performance of each individual, and then you can ask these questions to yourself or to your own training program, that was the training successful, what did the participants learn, were you able to match up to the objectives of each individual who has attended the training program or not. Because till the time your goals are not being met after attending the training program, then there is no point of undergoing that particular thing. right? Next is, did the participants use what they learned on the job? Because it's very important that everything that a person is being trained on, especially inside an organization, he or she should be able to utilize those skills or knowledge within the time span of next 3 months, so that they can learn on the job as well. So one part was theory which was given in training, and one part was practicing those theoretical things, so that you can see the changes in the behavior. For example, now let's take another example. Suppose one of you have a really very problematic area called anger management. Your anger issues are really, really high, right? And everybody was noticing it in the organization. Everybody could look at it. A lot of complaints were there about the issues and all those things. And then the company decided that let's take this employee under a training program. Let's give them a training where they can at least learn about anger management. Anger management was done, everything was shared, everything was told. Now how will you evaluate whether the anger management program was successful for the employee or not? On what basis?
Ma'am, by giving him critical situations and seeing how he's handling that.
Correct, that's one way. Very good. What else?
By comparing his, the
Your voice got lost. Can't
Ma'am,
hear
can
you.
can you please repeat your question?
The question is that suppose there was an anger management training which you attended because of your anger issues. How will the company ensure after the training there are certain changes in you? How will they measure the effectiveness of the training program?
ma'am, by comparing his way of handling things in earlier and now, like the same situation would be given to him as earlier, and then comparison would be made ki acha, earlier he used to do this thing and now he is doing this in this way, so in that way.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, putting me into another sort of situation where there's some kind of temper handling stuff is related to it. So in that case, the company can compare the earlier, previously, if such and such problem had appeared, so I reacted this way, and now when there's a new problem, like where there's this thing, so now how am I reacting?
Okay. So observing the change in the behavior, right? So let me take you through the methods through which we can actually evaluate the training programs very easily. Whatever you are saying, some people have already said that, done that, and that's when they decided that these are the methods that can be incorporated into the training program through which you can measure whether it is behavioral changes, whether it is skill changes, or anything else that has to be measured. So number one is Kirkpatrick model. Very famous, very almost 60-70% of trainers generally use this program for effectiveness until unless they are using something of their own. This works on 4 levels. The number one is starting from the bottom. It says see the reactions. Right? For example, reaction means that the degree to which participants find the training favorable, engaging, and relevant to their jobs. So you can easily find out. That's immediately after the training program is over. You can easily see their reactions, that training was good or not, whether it was engaging, trainer was engaging, the activities being done was really helpful, whether it was relevant for the job or not. So that is an immediate thing that you can get to know. Then second part comes of this effectiveness is called learning. Second stage talk about that. That means the degree of which participants acquire the intended knowledge, skills, or whatever, behavioral, attitude, confidence, commitment, whatever the training program was intended to, whether it was really achieved by the organization and the people together or not. Right? So that means what is the learning that has gone inside people. Third is behavior. Like all of you said that there are times that you can actually notice and observe whether there has been a change in the behavior of the person or not. how they reacted before the training and then how they were reacting after the training program. Right? Last is results. So how do we measure the results? That means the degree of which target or outcomes as a result of training has actually happened. There are chances that not every training program will reach to 100% satisfaction or 100% evaluation of effectiveness rating it will achieve. Because human behavior is something that can take a lot of time to change. If it is a skill-based thing, training program, then there are chances that still it can show an accuracy of 90%, 95%, that the human attended a training program, he was 60% good before, and now after the skill-based training that has been given, he or she is capable to do 90% of the thing. Right? That can be done very easily. Understood this particular one? This is how we ask questions in reaction stage. So reaction is this. These are the questions. Did you feel that the training was worth your time? Did you think it was successful? Strength and weakness, whether you like the learning style of trainer, facilitator, activities were engaging. So that's in the reaction stage you do. Then in the behavior stage, what we do is, did the trainees put any of their learning to use? Are trainees able to teach the new knowledge, skills or attitudes to other people? Many organizations also do and conduct similar kind of things, that they send their major employees, say managers, for training program. If it is an external training, and after they come back from the training program in the organization, they ask these trainers, these managers, to arrange a training program for all other employees. So that way it is easily checkable also whether whatever they have studied and whatever they have understood during their training program, they are easily available to impart the same thing. Right? That is the reason why we ask all of you to present. Why do we ask you to make presentations after the topic is over? So that we can see and evaluate whether whatever we have been trying to make it reach to you in terms of the skills and knowledge, whether you have understood it or whether you can easily teach these things to others or not, or you can implement it in your organization. Right? And the last is, are trainees aware that they have changed the behavior? Then outcomes expected में क्या आता है? These are the metrics that can be easily calculated within the organizations. What are these metrics now? Increase employee retention. You can see over a period of time whether the retention of the employees actually increased or not. Increase production. You can easily measure productivity. You can see whether they were initially producing 20 goods. Now after the training programs they have reached to 23 every day. Then higher morale. Again, with employee satisfaction survey, it can easily be measurable whether the employee morale has increased or not. They have been happy, they have been satisfaction, they are content with most of the things which is happening in the organization. Then reduce waste. Now many manufacturing industries, very large industries also go through this particular pain area, that a lot of waste happens. For example, suppose it's a textile industry, curtains banate hain. Right? Now they are making curtains, so what happens during making curtains is that a lot of organizations, a lot of people, if they are not performing 100% on each machinery, there are chances that the cloth will come out after complete embroidery or whatever print it has undergone. It may not come exactly the same as the design. Generally machinery, I don't know whether you have seen any such industry or not, how it works in textile industries, कि एक साँचा होता है जिसके अंदर वो अपना डिज़ाइन पहले से डिसाइड कर लेते हैं. They fill the colors, they put the design, everything in that, and then that goes, it's kind of a stencil. So that stencil then goes inside the machinery ताकि सभी कपड़ा exactly सेम तरीके का निकल कर आए जो उनको चाहिए, जितना भी 200 meters, 500 meters, whatever it is. And then suppose a human error happens, that an employee is not really paying attention during the statistics being filled, that stencil being filled, or getting inside into the machine, or when the cloth was actually get printed. Somebody has not given that much of attention to it, and because of that a lot of cloth has gone, because इंडस्ट्रीज़ के अंदर 5-5 मीटर कपड़ा नहीं बनता, एक साथ 300-500 मीटर इस तरीके से निकलता है. राइट? सो इमेजिन द काइंड ऑफ वेस्टेज दैट कैन हैपन बिकॉज ऑफ ह्यूमन एरर. right? Huge amount of wastages happen. So that's why these trainings are given, so that the employees and the organizations can reduce the waste to a larger extent. Because majority of the time manufacturing industries goes into losses is purely because of this wastages that happens. And 70-80% of wastages happens purely because of human error, nothing else. Because the machineries are really doing wonderful things, a lot of things are happening. Yes, Anamika.
Ma'am, are these professional trainings given to the workers, like the lower section, the lower workers
Absolutely.
also?
Yeah, absolutely. So industry के अंदर उनको ही दी जाती है. Anybody who is performing their job, so see, trainings can be of different ways. Trainings can be of different areas, right? To manufacturing, in manufacturing industries, maximum trainings are provided to people who are working on the job. I mean, on the shop floor. So shop floor we call where the things are actually happening, the execution. Machineries चल रही हैं, employees काम कर रहे हैं. तो 5S training, wastage reduce training, प्रोडक्टिविटी इंक्रीज ट्रेनिंग. जैसे अभी इसका एग्जांपल दिया था मैंने कि 20 प्रोडक्ट्स बनाने थे, नाउ दे हैव रीच्ड टू 23. अगेन इट कैन हैपन इन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इंडस्ट्री ओनली, राइट? सो लार्ज अमाउंट ऑफ ट्रेनिंग इन इंडिया started with manufacturing industries. Now it has gone towards different. For corporate people, you cannot give them technical training in terms of making a product. You can give them trainings on behavior, you can give them trainings on how to sell, how to acknowledge things, on all these areas, their functional areas. But technical trainings happen generally on the shop floor in manufacturing or in IT companies. यहाँ पर भी कोई typical skill सिखाना है आपको, right? Then आता है आपका increase sales. So आगे हम increase sales वाले portion पे where you can teach people how to do proper sales, and then you can easily see whether their month on month sales have increased after the training programs or not. So that's also very easy metrics. Then high quality ratings. So high quality ratings in the sense that पहले company को ज़्यादा ratings नहीं मिल रहे थे, the reviews were not really good, maybe because of the customer service, maybe because of the product, anything. So once you have improved that, now the quality ratings of the organization or of the product or services have increased tremendously. Right? Any example that comes to you, comes to your mind related to quality training? अभी ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम बहुत सारी ई-कॉमर्स कंपनी ने काफ़ी कुछ इम्प्रूवमेंट्स किए हैं इसके चलते. Anything that you have heard?
I'm like Zomato or Swiggy, they work on higher quality rating, and according to their rating, they just evaluate or they increase their performance. I think that would be an example.
Yeah, but something tremendously different that they have done so that their quality ratings have increased. Maybe not as a training program, but maybe for an outside customer. Any example that comes to your mind? So it may not be related to quality ratings, but there is an example that is there. It was there in news 5-6 months back. I think last year in September, October, there were a couple of ladies who were not really happy with the way Myntra's logo was designed. They thought that it's a form of human, especially a lady. अगर आप उस time देखोगे, तो it looks like that a lady is there with the knee bent. Right? It used to look like that. I don't know how they found it, but many women started objecting to it. There was complete hullabaloo about this thing in the social media, right? And Myntra took it very seriously. They took this particular feedback and they changed the logo immediately. Within 15-20 days time, the way the complaint was raised, right? So that's how they can increase their quality ratings, by getting to know about the feedbacks and reviews of the customers as well, and then looking into the details of what and why it has gone wrong, and then making the changes afterwards, right? So it is not directly related to the training, but yes, it is because of this complaint. I don't know who designed that particular logo. So they might have changed the company, they might have again given them the training, or something would have been changed, and that's how they increased their fee. And since then, Myntra has been doing really, really well as an organization also. Then आता है increase customer satisfaction. Again, you can relate the same example with that. But also in a lot of organizations, especially in retail organization, what happens, retail or hospitality, where you actually go and have food, and you're not satisfied with the way people are handling you, taking care of you as a customer. So there, after customer service training, people really get to know whether it is very easily measurable. You can see changes in the behavior. You can easily train the people in terms of how you have to handle the customers really well, and the changes can be seen very quick. You can practice it well through role play and through case studies method, showing them how their behavior can actually impact the organization to larger extent. Companies go through all these things in a very serious manner, that they tell the people to leave the organization if over a period of time their customer satisfaction rating has still gone down after the training program. Because ultimately every product and services which is there, the whole sole purpose of running an organization is to provide customer satisfaction. Second most important point after profitability is customer satisfaction for every organization. So if customer satisfaction is not being reached, that means there is something really, really wrong with the organization and the way people are working. Right? So that's how these things are done. Then fewer staffer complaints. So if less staff complaints are there, then there are chances that the training program that you have undertaken, make people participate in that particular thing, it has gone really down. Because what happens in organization is, suppose you're not happy with something, right? What you do, you start complaining about various things, right? Once the organization has taken things seriously, they will go through the feedback and review and the complaints, at what kind of complaints are coming in for what issues. Then there are chances in the training and development program, through that means they will be able to satisfy the employees who are working inside the company, and then because of the satisfaction has been reached by the internal employees, there are chances that the complaints are lesser and fewer. Right? Most organizations also follow a policy where they either give an anonymous email ID where you can put across your complaints as an organization employee, or there is a suggestion box which is placed where you can put your complaints within the organization anonymously. And suggestion box really works well. बस इतना देखना होता है organization में. There was a very funny incident. In fact, there was one organization who had put a very large suggestion box, क्योंकि हम लोगों ने उनको suggest किया था as an external consultant that at least try and find out, because ESAT survey के अंदर भी employees ने बहुत सारी चीज़ें share नहीं करी थी हमसे. So we told them that let's put a suggestion box, let's see if anonymously people want to share something. So we put the suggestion box, we told the company, and we used to go only once or twice in a month. So their CEO called me and he said कि इतना कोई फ़ायदा नहीं हो रहा है, the suggestion box is also not working. We checked it, it was completely empty, not even a single complaint. I said, why it's happening? So I said, it's alright, when I'll come next, I'll try and speak to the employees. And imagine when I went, I saw the suggestion box was placed just under the CCTV camera. So anybody would come and put their suggestion, it would be easily noticeable. And it was such a small, foolish mistake that they did. And he said, yeah, we did not think about it. Imagine the CEO of the company. And I'm telling you this real example which happened 2018-19 somewhere. And very good organization. And this is, so smaller things can lead to larger differences between the organization and the employees. So this is how you can actually go into the details, find out and see how employees can be changed, because ultimately it's human. So every human can be inculcated good values, good skills and good knowledge over a period of time. But it takes time for everybody to learn certain things. Even a scientific research also shows that if you have to change a behavior in somebody, you have to at least practice this 21 times, or at least for 21 days continuously. If you are able to do 21 days continuously, it becomes your habit and then it will never go from you. Alright, so this is the first model, Kirkpatrick model. Then आता है आपका Zero model, very similar to Kirkpatrick. In fact, it was influenced by any other method which has launched after Kirkpatrick model, was basically influenced or some way inspired by that particular model. So that is the reason why Kirkpatrick model is still very famous and very influential, because authentic है, सबसे पहले बनाया गया था, बहुत ही यूज़फुल है. उसके बाद के ये सब जो आए हैं, ये सब उसी के अब मीटू या कॉपी हैं in some way or the other. So you will see, you will be able to find out how this model works. They have just changed the name. context, so you will see the zero का full form है context, input, reaction and outcome. So context is the current situation of the organization is being practiced in this stage. So they will see कि current situation क्या चल रहा है organization का. Input में आप देखेंगे situation analysis to secure organizational success. So situation analysis in the sense that you will put across the situations, कहाँ कहाँ पर क्या क्या गलतियाँ हो रही हैं, कहाँ कहाँ पर किस तरीके से प्रॉब्लम एरियाज आते हैं. थर्ड आ जाता है रिएक्शन. नाउ यू टेक कंस्ट्रक्टिव फीडबैक फ्रॉम द ट्रेनिंग पार्टिसिपेंट्स. देन लास्ट इज आउटकम्स ऑफ द ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम, वेदर टेंजिबल और इंटेंजिबल. लार्जली टेंजिबल, अगेन मेट्रिक्स के साथ इसको मेजर किया जा सकता है. Right? So Zero model is different from Kirkpatrick model because it talks about situation analysis a little bit more. That means that you use case studies, you use critical incident methods, you use role plays, you use कि ये सारी की सारी situations हो चुकी हैं organizations के अंदर, and now if you have to change your behavior and handle the similar situation, how will you do it? Right? For example, anger management training का लेते हैं. एंगर मैनेजमेंट ट्रेनिंग, आपके अंदर एंगर इश्यूज हैं एज एन एम्प्लॉय बहुत ज़्यादा, दैट यू डोंट पे अटेंशन टू व्हाट योर एम्प्लॉयज आर सेइंग, व्हाट योर कस्टमर्स आर सेइंग, व्हाट अदर वेंडर्स आर सेइंग. यू आर अब्यूसिव, यू आर एरोगेंट, यू आर एग्रेसिव, एवरीथिंग, but still you are a good performer, you are able to achieve your targets, right? So the situation is that you're not able to handle the customers really well, whether it is internal employees or external customers. So now after undergoing the training on anger management, the changes can be easily noticeable so that you can go through the situation analysis again. Same situations we will produce for you, and then we will observe the reactions, how you are reacting into the similar situation. In most cases, employees don't even know that these situations are again been designed just to check whether the situation has changed or whether their behavior has changed or not. So it is done in a manner that they are not aware about these things, right? So what you do is you ask somebody to become a false customer, go through that, become very aggressive customer, and then see how this person is reacting to that. This is how you can ensure the changes in the employee. Then next method आता है आपका Jack Phillips ROI method. So now ROI become very aggressive way of knowing whether the money invested or the time invested in the training program has given good returns or not. Right? हिमा को समझ आती होगी ना ये वाली भाषा कि इन्वेस्टमेंट हम करते हैं, कोई भी पैसा हम कहीं डालते हैं इन्वेस्ट करने के लिए, so we always see कि over a period of time हमें कितना रिटर्न आ रहा है उसके ऊपर. Correct? So similar thing we do it in this Jack Phillips ROI method, right? So Jack Phillips says that ROI क्यों हमें मैप करना easy हो जाता है, because you are able to see whether the cost that company has put into a training program is giving results now completely, right? So number one again same Kirkpatrick model से है. Reaction देखते हैं सबसे पहले, what are the participants' reaction to the program and what do they plan to do with this. Second, we see learning, how much has things changed, their attitude, skills, similar to Kirkpatrick, ekdam same. Third is we see implementation, whether they have really implied or made efforts to use those skills and knowledge into day-to-day working. Fourth is business impact, larger उसमें देखते हैं कि on the job application के बाद कंपनी को क्या फ़ायदा होने वाला है, हो गया है. Then last में we measure return on investment, right? That means the monetary value of to the entire cost of the program. So for example, एक ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम को अरेंज करने में 20 लोगों का कहीं पर भी इजीली 70-80 हज़ार रुपये खर्चा हो जाता है ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का, इजीली 70-80,000. इफ एक्सटर्नल ट्रेनिंग्स आर जनरली गिवन, इंटरनल ट्रेनिंग्स में इतना नहीं होता. 70-80,000 रुपीज़ आपका खर्चा हो गया, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन क्वालिटी ऑफ ट्रेनर ऑल्सो. सो सम ट्रेनर्स चार्ज 5-10,000 रुपीज़ ऑल्सो पर ट्रेनिंग. Trainers like us charge 45-50,000 per session. Then there are even much better trainers who are very profound, who are really good in their skill areas. They charge 1.5 to 2 lakhs per day kind of charges. So depending upon the quality of trainer who is coming to give training, this cost can go higher, right? Other than that, cost के अंदर क्या क्या आता है आपका, जो हमने बजट शीट पे मैंने आपको दिखाया था इससे पहले, वो आपको I'll send it across to you so that you can see and take a look at it. Material का cost, projector का cost, खाने पीने का कॉस्ट, रिफ्रेशमेंट दे दिया, लंच दे दिया, वट एवर इज इंक्लूडेड, materials, stationery, all these things generally. So now how you can calculate whether the training program is profitable or not. So suppose 1 lakh रुपये मान लेते हैं कि एक ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम में 1 लाख रुपए लगा. Right? Now over a period of time, how will we see whether this 1 lakh has come back to us or not, or it has gone into a particular investment? How do you think can it be done? It can be done
by increase in our in the company's net profit.
Can't hear you properly. By increasing what?
By increase in the overall income of the company or the productivity.
Okay. Yes, that's one way. What else?
Demand of the company or the customer reviews, by the customer reviews.
No. Profitability देखते हैं ना. So that is satisfaction. There is a formula which is used generally. If you want to note down, you can note down the formula. ROI is equal to monetary benefits minus training cost. Divided by training cost into 100.
I'm divided by
Training cost, total training cost into 100. Right? So what do you understand by this formula? कि आपकी कंपनी को जो भी आपने किसी ने बोला that monetary benefit we will calculate, we will see how much is the monetary benefit over a period of time after the skills and knowledge has been imparted, and then we will minus the cost of training, जो भी खर्चा हुआ है, divided it by the same training cost which has been done, and then multiply by 100. So that means the percentage of ROI will be there, that this is how the things are done. Okay?
ma'am, whatever the outcome will come after minusing monetary benefit and training cost, suppose X आया value, तो अगर हम लोग X divided by total training cost जो होगा उससे divide करेंगे into 100. Okay, got it.
Okay? Done? Understood this? Then आता है आपका Brinkerhoff's model. Now what Brinkerhoff did change in the entire evaluation is basically he said that पहले goal setting कर लेते हैं, which is what we do generally training के लिए, that what exactly is the goals and objectives everybody wants to meet. Then second they say is that let's design the program properly, whether the program is meeting the need or not. Then third we will see whether the implementation is being done, किस चीज़ पे focus रखना है. Immediate outcomes, you can easily find out whether the employees have learnt or not. Some tests you can give, some quiz programs you can organize to immediately check after the training program how much they have learnt. Right? Then fifth is intermediate or usage outcomes, कि over a period of time क्या क्या learn किया, एक immediate, एक over a period of time. Then last में बड़ा impact क्या कर रहे हैं वो organization पे, which can be seen maybe 9 months, in 1 year, and more than that. Right? For example, सेल्स ट्रेनिंग दी हमने, हमें पता चला कि हमारे परफॉर्मेंस अप्रेजल के बाद we found out that few employees are not able to reach their targets of the sales value which has been given to them. Right? So suppose मान लेते हैं सृष्टि, हिमा और प्राची हैं 3 कैंडिडेट्स, राइट? तीनों है ना अभी? हाँ. So
Yes, ma'am.
now all 3 of you were given targets कि 1-1 करोड़ रुपए हर महीने करना है सेल्स का, ठीक है? बट ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम रिव्यूज फीडबैक्स के बाद भी आपका बहुत ज़्यादा हद तक परफॉर्मेंस पहुंच पाया सिर्फ 80 lakhs एवरी मंथ, नॉट 1 करोड़. सो व्हाट विल यू डू नाउ? आफ्टर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम यू विल सी कि काफ़ी नुकसान हो जाएगा इफ दे आर 3 of them are not able to reach their target. So what will you do? You organize a sales training for them, where you will again give them training कि किस तरीके से better sales कर सकते हैं, how you can overcome external factors, how you can oversell to the same companies where you have already sold, what are the companies you have good relationships with, so whatever the content was, right? तो content के basis पे now immediately after the training we will see कि 6 महीना बचा है, 6 महीने हो चुके हैं organization के अंदर where you have not reached the target and now 6 months are left. So now in next 6 months you will see the performance of each and every employee, सृष्टि का भी, हिमा का भी और प्राची का भी. So what will happen now? What do you expect from the training to happen? That at least all 3 of them should reach 1 CR. Right? That's minimum basic. But good organizations or good training programs का objective क्या रहेगा? That at least they should be able to do 1.20 CR. So that जो पिछले 6 महीने का भी lack है वो भी यहाँ पर आके बराबर हो जाए. So that your yearly performance remains the same. Correct? So that's how your larger time period of impact is basically being measured. That छोटे time period में we saw 1 महीने में उसने 1 करोड़ कर लिया दोबारा से. But over a longer period of time we want them to implement the training in such a manner that whatever loss they have incurred to themselves or to the organization, they are able to manage that as well. Correct? It can happen in 6 months, it can happen in 1 year's time. फिर आता है इजी सा ही सक्सेस केस मेथड. सक्सेस केस मेथड सेम जैसे केस स्टडीज मेथड काम करते हैं, सिमिलर वैसे करता है कि आपको ऑलरेडी एक सक्सेस केस मेथड दे दिया कि सबसे बेस्ट सिनेरियोज ये होते हैं करने के लिए काम, और देन दे आस्क यू टू मेक चेंजेस इन योरसेल्फ, राइट? So generally in this particular method we ask 2 questions to all the participants. Number 1, how well does a program work in a best case scenario? कि सपोज सारे एम्प्लॉयज़ सब काम कर लेते हैं जो भी ट्रेनिंग में सिखाया गया, सो सबसे ज़्यादा अच्छा आउटकम क्या आ सकता है ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम का? सो वी विल फाइंड आउट दैट. देन सेकेंड क्वेश्चन वी कीप इन माइंड बिफोर यूजिंग दिस एज इफेक्टिवनेस मेथड इज व्हेन अ प्रोग्राम डजंट वर्क, व्हाट इज द रीजंस फॉर दिस? राइट? सो अकॉर्डिंग टू रिकर्ड SEM मेथड कैसे यूज़ कर सकता है कि व्हाट इज़ रियली हैपनिंग अभी at this point in time in your organization as an employee for you. Then what results the program helps you to produce? आपने attend कर लिया program, then what kind of results do you think that it can help produce after the training is being done? Then third is what is the value of the results? कि monetary value है, behavior change value है, quantitative है, qualitative है. So what exactly is the value of the result that is anticipated? And last is how could the initiative be improved? Right? For example, you wanted कि आपके 4 goals हैं ट्रेनिंग के, चारों goals आपके met हो जाए after the training is done. But ultimately, that is the best scenario that you have kept in mind, that everybody who is attending the training, suppose अगर let's see customer service department की training कर रहे हैं. Right now, customer service department की training में क्या होता है कि people are being trained usually to handle the difficult customers as well. All kind of customers, but largely because difficult customers or problematic customers create a lot of nuisance for everybody. So the training is given on that particular thing. So what do you expect? Customer service training से पहले आपका objective क्या होगा?
Ma'am, that the trainee is able to serve the customer with patience.
Okay. One is that you're looking into the patients. What else? बाकी सब लोग तुम लोग कैमरा ऑफ करके बैठे हो, प्रॉक्सी पे बैठे हैं क्या? शक्ति, विशाखा, आकृति, nothing is coming from you.
How to identify such kind of customers, or how to tackle with them can be our objective.
How to
tackle with them, like how to deal with them.
How to deal with people, correct. So patience हो गया, deal हो गया. Vishakha, you're there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm there.
All right. So do you understand the question? I'm waiting for
Ma'am,
the
there is
answer.
a network issue, so that's why I'm not able to listen all the things.
Question भी नहीं सुनाई दिया?
No, ma'am.
The question is, suppose आप customer service department में काम करते हो,
Yes, ma'am.
and you have attended a training. What is the goal of that customer service training?
Ma'am, to satisfy the needs or any problems which occur, मतलब कि अगर if in case कोई product लेता है customer हमारे company से, and if there is any issue, तो we can solve that problem. उनकी needs और मतलब problems को satisfy करना.
Okay.
Also, ma'am, if those typical customers, I mean, if the trainee is not able to handle the typical customers, then in that case, what is that person supposed to do? To whom should he approach next so that that person can come and handle the situation?
Correct. That's escalation matrix, we call it in customer service. So what is the next level where the employees can go? So for example, if you have ever called in any of the customer service for that matter, चलो मान लेते हैं एयरटेल या जियो जो भी यूज़ कर रहे हो आप सर्विस प्रोवाइडर, सपोज कभी काम कॉल किया वहाँ पर, एंड द रिप्रेजेंटेटिव हु आंसर्ड योर कॉल इज नॉट एबल टू आंसर द queries very well. They are not able to handle you. Right? You are showing aggressiveness and the employee is not able to handle that. So in that case, what are they going to do? They will put it on escalation. All these call centers, all these customer service companies have an escalation matrix that they follow. फ्लोर मैनेजर के पास जाएगा, फिर असिस्टेंट फ्लोर मैनेजर के पास जाएगा, फिर ऑपरेशंस मैनेजर जो फ्लोर पे होते हैं उनके पास जाएगा, फिर वहाँ से मैनेजर के पास चला जाता है. जनरली मैनेजर्स आर नॉट ऑन द फ्लोर, सो दे विल आस्क यू टू गिव योर नंबर, take the request query number, and then they will provide you a call back. This is how it happens. Yeah, so this is what it is. So what is the value of the result is basically कि आपके जो गोल्स थे, जो पेशेंस आपने सीखना था, डिफ़िकल्ट कस्टमर्स को हैंडल करना सीखना था, कैसे डील करना है उनसे सीखना था, all these things are being able to meet with the training program. If that is not happening with the training program, then what will we do?
Then change the pattern of training and see where the training goes wrong.
Correct. So we will see where the training goes wrong. That's correct. But then what are the initiatives we are going to take to improve it? The success case method says that if you're not able to reach the 100% of what you have designed or decided as an evaluation matrix for the course or for the training that you have attended, so for example, YSI का training program किया, 6 महीने वाला course किया, right? How will you ensure yourself कि ये आपके goals के साथ meet करा कि नहीं करा? How will you evaluate?
Ma'am, can you repeat? How will you ensure?
How will you ensure that it has met your scale of objectives, whatever goals that you have? Right. I am just hoping that none of you are from HR background before attending this program, correct?
Yes.
So all 8-9 participants who are attending today, none of you are from the HR background before this, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So now you attended this training program for 6 months. 4 months core HR, 2 months whatever was given to you, general management information and all that, right? So how will you ensure that it has met your goal? Was there any goal clearly written or clearly demarcated in your mind? Have you written it down, or did you decide why you want to go for this course? क्या मेरे दिमाग में है? What is my objective of attending? If you remember, I asked this question in the very first class when I took 27th of November. I asked this question: what is the objective you have for yourself for attending this course? And most of you could not answer that. क्योंकि सारे थे ही नहीं, कुछ लोगों ने बाद में ज्वाइन किया. So without any goal and objective attend कर लिया program?
No, ma'am. Actually, no, ma'am. No.
I was telling Hima was laughing ना इसीलिए.
No. My objective is to communicate properly and thought whether it's right or not to open up like that for soft skills like that. Based on case studies, assignments, I have started thinking. I thought I have improved them.
Okay. So that's on the skills, communication skills part or soft skills part, right? I'm talking about the overall objective. Who had, honestly?
Ma'am, when you asked earlier this question, I also answered this the same. Ki I was very interested in knowing what is HR and how it works. And yes, now I can say it very confidently. I know how the HR, this whole system works, and how amazing this is, and how this is handling or holding the whole situation of any organization. So I think I met the objective of mine in knowing all this system and knowing how fascinating this is. So this was my objective.
Okay. तो फिर अगली बाकी की क्लासेस छोड़ देते हैं, अभी पूरा हो गया तो.
No, ma'am, learning has no limits.
Okay. Prachi, you had some objective in mind?
Yes, ma'am. Before joining the course, I have the objective that I want to improve my conversation skills and also to, remove my hesitation of speech.
Okay.
And also to boost my thinking capability. So I guess I'm working on it still.
Okay, good. So why HR course then? Why not something else?
Ma'am, because HR generally deals with people.
Okay.
That's
alright. Okay, so hopefully, at the end of the session, when we will be taking your final evaluation, we will then find out whether, you have really met the goals or not. So this is how things are being done. Or else, if, the question why I asked this thing is that if you have not decided about a goal, this is a time when you at least think through it and see why you have, attended this training program. What are the things that you have learned over a period of time? I am sure that 6 months may it's difficult to take you through the entire HR because HR is too vast, right? But whatever we could give you, what else you can do so that the initiative can be improved. Whether you can attend some other program somewhere else, or maybe it takes you to a level where you join an organization as an intern, perform for 6 months and see how much you can at least implement all those things that you've learned, right? So whatever favorite topic you choose. So these are the areas. So that is what I am telling you from success case method, that if the objective is not met 100% or you want to check whether it has met 70, 80, 90%, whatever is left, then you can practice it and learn. Okay. So this is what customer success method or Bundenkoff also says, that this is how things needs to be done. What are the steps to be taken? 5 steps generally he says should be performed. 1, plan a success case study. So any success case study you can plan for related to the training objectives or the training. Then define what success should look like. Create an impact model. Impact model हम कैसे create करते हैं कि training के बाद हमारे पे क्या impact आएगा और on the employees. What is the kind of impact it is going to make. Third is then write a survey that identifies best case and worst case scenarios. कि ट्रेनिंग करने के बाद बेस्ट केस क्या होगा, इम्प्रूवमेंट आएगा, वर्स्ट केस क्या होगा कि कुछ भी नहीं सीखेगा एम्प्लॉय. People who won't attend the training program or are just there for the sake of it will not be able to learn anything, right? So forget about implementation. वो दिमाग में ही नहीं जाएगा तो कैसे कुछ कर पाएंगे. Then आता है आपका documenting success cases and conducting interviews. कि आपने सक्सेस केसेस डॉक्यूमेंट कर लिए कि सपोज 20 लोगों ने ट्रेनिंग ऑर्गेनाइज अटेंड करा. Out of 20 you have seen that 15 are good success cases. That means some changes have happened as per the goals and objectives. And in the rest 5 candidates, it's a worst case scenario, nothing happened. So what will you do? You will start conducting an interview for the success case methods. And then at the end what will you do? You will draw a conclusion, you will write recommendations, and you will write down the entire thing for the stakeholders. So जैसे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन फॉर एग्जांपल हम एक्सटर्नल कंसल्टेंट हैं, हमें YSI ने बुलाया कि ट्रेनिंग ले लो आप 12 बच्चों की फॉर दिस पर्टिकुलर थिंग. हमने अपना काम कर दिया, राइट, वी डिड ट्रेनिंग. हमने अपना गोल एंड ऑब्जेक्टिव हमने पर्सनली क्या रखा कि एवरी किड और एवरी चाइल्ड हु इज पार्टिसिपेटिंग विल बी एबल टू लर्न दीज 3 थिंग्स, दीज फ्यू थिंग्स, राइट, जो कोर्स मटेरियल में आपके लिखा है, सिलेबस में लिखा है. तो सक्सेस केस मेथड क्या कहेगा कि सक्सेसफुल सक्सेस क्या हुई कि पीपल लर्न एवरीथिंग दैट इज रिटन. साइड बाय साइड दे स्टार्टेड इम्प्लीमेंटिंग. कहीं ट्रेनिंग ज्वाइन कर ली, कहीं पर पढ़ना शुरू कर दिया, कहीं पर कुछ कर दिया. सो ऑल दीज थिंग्स हैव स्टार्टेड हैपनिंग, राइट. देन आफ्टर दैट व्हाट विल हैपन, अगर बाकी कुछ नहीं कर पाए, किसी ने अटेंड ही नहीं करी, फॉर एग्जाम्पल नाउ देयर आर 2 स्टूडेंट्स, दीपिका एंड देवांश, है ना, कभी कोई क्लास अटेंड नहीं करी. आई डोंट थिंक, दीपिका को तो शुरू में 1-2 दिन देखा था, उसके बाद शी कुड नॉट अटेंड. देवांश का तो भगवान ही बताएगा कि क्यों नहीं अटेंड कर रहा, राइट. सो दीज आर फ्यू पीपल नाउ दे हैव नॉट अटेंडेड. सो व्हाट दे हैव बिकम ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम इज द वर्स्ट केस सिनेरियो. कि ट्रेनिंग का वर्स्ट केस सिनेरियो क्या हो सकता है कि कोई एम्प्लॉय आए ही ना, एब्सेंटिज्म है, अटेंड ही नहीं किया है, तो द स्किल्स जो दिमाग में जाना है, नॉलेज दिमाग में जाना है, इज़ नॉट गोइंग टू गो, राइट. एंड इफ़ यू थिंक दैट यूट्यूब वीडियोज़ कैन हेल्प, इट कैन हेल्प टू सम एक्सटेंट, 60%, 50%. अदरवाइज़ क्यों कोई फीस पे करके क्लास अटेंड करेगा अगर सिर्फ यूट्यूब वीडियो सुनने, वो तो फ्री में ही अवेलेबल हो जाएगी. वी आर रिकॉर्डिंग एंड वी आर पोस्टिंग इट आउट देयर, right? So there is a difference between attending the YouTube program and attending the classes and understanding things and asking questions, clarifying doubts. So this becomes your comparison between worst case scenarios and success case scenarios. So at the end of the day, what will we do? We will write down the conclusions that on each person after evaluation we have seen. So final exam ke baad this is what we do. We will write our recommendations and conclusions about each individual. That Hema had done these things really well, and these 2 areas she needs a little bit more help in, right? So just give me a moment. Yeah, sorry, no, that is all running down. So. Right, so this becomes a comparison between a worst case scenario and success case scenario, and then what we can write as a recommendation to these individuals when we will share the report cards, that these are the areas you need to work on, these are the improvement areas you can work on, right? These are the areas you are not absolutely up to the mark as per the faculties you gave. So some points will be given by Hardik sir on areas where he trained, some points will be given by me where I trained. So we will give you a combined things to the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders in this scenario? All the students who attended, as well as Neeraj sir, because he was the one who organized these things, right? So this is what you do. You recommend, you write conclusion, and then you create something. For example, मान लेते हैं कि out of all 12 of you, there is 1 or 2 people who were really really good, and they got A grade, A+ grade, whatever grade that you're talking about, right? एंड सो उनके लिए क्या, वो क्या बन जाएंगे हमारे, वो बन जाएंगे हमारे सक्सेस केस स्टडी. दैट उनके गोल्स भी मीट हो गए, हमारे गोल्स भी मीट हो गए टेस्ट के, कोर्स के, एंड देन दे डिड परफॉर्म रियली वेल इन द इवैल्यूएशन, एंड सो वी विल गिव देम अ रिकमेंडेशन दैट दे कैन नाउ आर रेडी टू परफॉर्म द जॉब इन सम ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. That also we do. So we kind of try and provide placements also to the people who are interested.
Ma'am, placements through these classes and letter of recommendation.
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
Hello?
Yeah, sorry, repeat the question.
Ma'am, placements through these, our performance and letter of recommendation also.
No, we will not give any letter of recommendation as such, but see, your evaluation report card will be shared with you. Will tell you about that. That you performed really well. So certification itself will say that you have got the certificate with A grade, B grade, C grade, D grade, what grades. Right? That only will be your recommendation letter to the organization. Right? And I am very strict in giving marks and telling you in advance. People have stopped talking to me in previous 1 or 2 batches because I did not give them marks. But when they did not attend the classes, I could not give them marks. How can you give somebody a mark? Alright. So, see, this is what about evaluation of any kind of training program. So you can at least utilize it, see the implementation of all these methods of effectiveness evaluation by using it in any kind of training programs. There is no such thing that it can be done only for technical training, behavioral skill training, or soft skills training. It can be done for functional, non-functional, and all kind of training programs. Right? लास्ट आ जाता है आपका कॉफमेंस का. Now what Kaufman says is a very similar thing to what Kirkpatrick had said, कि एक input जाएगा for your training program, process follow करेंगे हम. Right? Input is what? Any skill, for example, you want to learn. Right? मान लेते हैं बाइसिकल चलाना सीखना है. Right? बाइसिकल चलाना सीखने के लिए क्या इनपुट होना चाहिए? साइकिल होना चाहिए एंड ट्रेनर होना चाहिए who can teach you. Then there is a process that you have to follow. What is the process that you will follow for the training program? That the trainer will give you instructions, you will follow, you will start practicing side by side on the cycle, and that's how things done. Acquisition is that whatever the skill is been given to you, you have acquired the knowledge. Right? So the instructions which was given to you, you started acquiring those instructions in your mind well. Application says that you have started applying. So how do you apply the instructions is कि आपने ठीक से hold करना शुरू किया bicycle का handle. You knew how the pedal works. You have to sit on the bike properly. What are the various ways of doing that? Then you start putting pressure on the pedal so that it starts getting the motor running. Right? So that's the application. Then उसके बाद हम क्या देखेंगे? Results. What are the results we are going to see? How efficiently you have started riding the bicycle. Right? And last is customer consequences. So additional point that is there in Kaufman's thing is that he or we wanted to actually evaluate and see whether the training program is really successful in terms of customer के ऊपर क्या इसका असर पड़ेगा. Not just for the organization but end product, because product or service customer के पास पहुँच रहा है. So he wanted to evaluate this entire method. जो skill या behavior आपने change किया, what is the impact it is going to create on the end customer. So that's the additional thing. So you can use all these methods in different scenarios in organizations with each training program or different training program. You can see how the effectiveness can be calculated through different methods also. Right? For example, हम customer service training की बात कर रहे थे. So customer service training is largely related to customers, right? So this method can help you find out how much things have changed for the organization and as well as for the customers or society at large. Right? A lot of NGOs or social development firms can also use Kaufman's method to see whether smaller projects that they go and implement for society can really be helpful for them. एंडरसन मेथड आता है इसके बाद. थोड़ा सा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है, नॉट रियली वेरी यूज इन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. So what does it say? That there are 4 measures. So learning functions measures, return on investment measures, return on expectations and benchmark and capability measures. 4 तरीके के measurements होने चाहिए. So learning function मतलब जो भी आप function या skill knowledge जो भी learn कर रहे हो. Return on investment मतलब जो भी आपका return on investment आएगा, how much is the cost involved and how much you got it. Return on expectation measures मतलब आपकी जो एक्सपेक्टेशन थी वेदर इट हैज़ मेट दैट एक्सपेक्टेशन और नॉट फॉर द इंडिविजुअल एंड फॉर द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. लास्ट इज बेंचमार्क एंड कैपेबिलिटी मेजर्स, राइट, विच इज़ द ओवरऑल थिंग. क्योंकि हम जब कंपनी के अंदर कुछ इम्प्रूवमेंट लेकर आते हैं, किसी एम्प्लॉय में लेकर आते हैं, सो ऑलवेज सेट अ बार और सेट अ बेंचमार्क अगेंस्ट इट, राइट. सो सपोज वी से दैट सृष्टि यू हैव टू इम्प्रूव. सो सृष्टि हैज़ टू इम्प्रूव फॉर व्हाट एंड ऑन व्हाट पैरामीटर्स. What is the benchmark for Srishti to improve? So for example, we will say if you want to become like Neeraj sir, so Srishti has to, benchmark for her is Neeraj sir, so she has to improve and become like Neeraj sir. So these are the areas of improvement and capabilities that she has to improve, right? So a benchmark can be a person, a benchmark can be the maximum strength of a capacity of a skill or competency at the highest level which is included or involved in the organization, right? So for example, HR अच्छा बनने के लिए, right, you have 5 competency which is required, right? Now out of these 5 competencies, सारी competencies I say कि 5 से 5 आनी चाहिए. That's the highest level of benchmark you can raise yourself to, right? 5 competency I say is that suppose recruitment and selection should be very proper, training and development you should be thorough about, performance management systems you would be aware about, you should be aware about compensation and management really well, and you should be able to understand business process. So ये 5 systems हो गए, 5 skills पर आपकी competency rate की जाएगी, right? So now at this point in time when we started the trainee program you were at 0. Correct? None of you were aware, so that's why we are saying that you were 0 in all these competencies. In first month, because we studied recruitment and selection, maybe you set tick mark to the first recruitment and selection ki 5 में से maybe we reach to 2.5 or 2 or 3, whatever, right? On the basis of whatever you want to scale. फिर performance management की बारी आई, so whatever we could reach to performance management, same 2, 3 से ऊपर नहीं कहेंगे हम क्योंकि टाइम लगता है इम्प्लीमेंट करने में. अभी यू आर जस्ट डन थियोरेटिकली. सेम नाउ विद ट्रेनिंग एंड डेवलपमेंट. फिर देन वी विल डू कॉम्पनसेशन एंड देन लास्ट वी विल से अबाउट द 5th point. Correct? So these are the 5 benchmarks that we have kept for you for attending this course, and that's how you are going to be decided by the trainers to evaluate you on your capability measures on benchmark. Right? So these 4 kind of benchmarks are there. Now what this matrix also says that first 2 में आप देखोगे तो सबसे पहले ऊपर जो डार्क ब्लू कलर्स पे लिखा हुआ है, it's written that senior management trust in the learning or contribution. So senior management trust in the learning contribution for 2 things. Learning function measures करने आपके और return on expectation आया कि नहीं आया. That's where their major motivation is all about. Then overall organization requires learning value metrics on 2 things, which is your return on investment measures और आपने benchmark तक पहुंचा कि नहीं पहुंचा organization को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए. Now see it on the left side, it talks about emphasis on the short term benefits and long term benefits. तो short term benefits किससे आ सकते हैं कि आपने एक learning function पे immediately अच्छा perform किया and then you got the measures done on that. And the next one, return on investment. लॉन्ग टर्म बेनिफिट्स ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को कैसे आ सकते हैं ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम से, आपका एक्सपेक्टेशन मीट हुआ कि नहीं हुआ, राइट, एंड देन वेदर यू आर एबल टू measure yourself on the benchmark which has been decided by you or by the organization or not, right? That's why it is called organizational learning value metrics also. So these are 4 metrics which are usually used in learning, training and development program in order to see whether an employee has really improved or not. I know it may be looking a little difficult at this point in time to understand this thing, but overall over a period of time once you will start utilizing these things in the organizations, because you know this entire training and development is a very practical things to do in the organization. You cannot learn about these things theoretically, right, until and unless, because in theory we learn ideal situations कि सब कैसा होगा ऐसे चलता रहेगा, वी डोंट टॉक अबाउट प्रॉब्लम एरियाज जो आते हैं, right? Even if we talk about problem areas or bottlenecks that comes into training and development, we only talk theoretically. जब हम practically करने जाते हैं ट्रेनिंग में, तो एक एक एम्प्लॉय को, इफ़ यू आर इन इंटरनल नेचर, एक एक एम्प्लॉय को खींच के लाना ट्रेनिंग रूम में सबसे बड़ा हेडेक, राइट? यू हैव टू रियली मोटिवेट देम हार्ड, you have to really bring them to a level where they understand the need of the training program. और उस पर एम्प्लॉय का गलती नहीं होता है, मैक्सिमम टाइम इट इज़ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस मिस्टेक, because many training programs even today are organized by organizations purely because उनको ट्रेनिंग बजट कंज्यूम करना है और उनको किसी ना किसी को बुला के ट्रेनिंग कराना है. दैट इज़ द रीज़न वाई 5,000 रुपये में ट्रेनिंग करा रहे हैं. इमेजिन somebody called me few days back, very large university, and they said कि हमें कैंपस टू कॉर्पोरेट ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम कराना है आपसे, what are the things and what are the things that we do. सब बातचीत हो गई, एक्सपेक्टेशन सेटिंग हो गई, फिर आया फिनेंसेस पे बात. They said कि how much do you charge? So I told them my rate is this. They said no, it's very costly. We generally pay 7,000 to 11,000 to trainer for a day. I said then you have come to a wrong person. Then I am not really the right person for doing that kind of training for you. And then you should go somewhere else. Then he has the audacity to ask me कि आप कोई recommendation दे दीजिए, कोई और ट्रेनर जो 7,000 रुपये में ट्रेनिंग कर रहे. So imagine such trainers are also available and they are just doing it for the sake of training. उनके लिए ट्रेनिंग कितना है, क्या है कि आप रूम में गए, आपके पास पूरा अच्छा से बना हुआ है, सब कुछ PPTs आर देयर, एवरीथिंग इज़ देयर, आपने ट्रेनिंग दी एंड केम आउट. नाउ यू आर नॉट वरीड अबाउट whether employees have understood how much the organization's impact is, how much is impact on you as a trainer for understanding this training. So these are the practical things that you learn, because every training that you conduct or you become a part of gives you a lot of information and knowledge to you, right? Because every organization is different from each organization, so you learn about different products, you learn about different services, you learn about various ways of people handling situations. बहुत सारी नई चीज़ें आपको सीखने को मिलती है एज अ ट्रेनर, राइट? सो देन ऑल दीज थिंग्स बिकम्स टोटली अ डिफरेंट बॉल गेम ऑलटुगेदर व्हेन यू स्टार्ट इम्प्लीमेंटिंग. सो दिस इज़ अबाउट दीज थिंग्स. अब इसके अंदर क्या क्या स्टेजेस रहते हैं इस वाले ट्रेनिंग इफेक्टिव मेथड में. स्टेज 1 says that determine the current alignment of training against strategic priorities of the organization. राइट? तो आपकी स्ट्रैटेजिक मैनेजमेंट क्या कहता है ट्रेनिंग से रिलेटेड कि क्या क्या चीज़ें होना चाहिए ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में रिलेटेड टू ट्रेनिंग एंड डेवलपमेंट. अभी तो हम ट्रेनिंग डेवलपमेंट इम्प्लीमेंट करने की बात कर रहे हैं या स्किल्स इम्पार्ट करने की बात कर रहे हैं. और व्हाट इज़ द ओवरऑल स्ट्रैटेजिक प्रायोरिटी फॉर ट्रेनिंग एंड डेवलपमेंट फॉर एनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन? क्या हो सकता है इन योर no answers?
Ma'am, please repeat the question.
The question is, suppose a company is organizing a training program, right? So that training program should have an impact on the organization also. What is that impact?
Improvement in the overall productivity and efficiency of the organization as well, like just like an individual, the organization should also improve its productivity.
Correct. So this is what is given in this particular model also, that you will see last वाले 2 metrics आप देखोगे, उसके ऊपर जो डार्क ब्लू में लिखा है that organizations requires learning value, right? So अभी तक हम इंडिविजुअल का ट्रेनिंग एंड डेवलपमेंट की बात कर रहे हैं, डिपार्टमेंट वाइज कर रहे हैं. इफ़ दैट इम्पैक्ट हैज़ टू रीच टू एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन लेवल, जिसको हम ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल डेवलपमेंट कहते हैं, दैट मीन्स उसका इम्पैक्ट इतना लार्ज होना चाहिए दैट इट इज़ रीचिंग to the profitability या customer satisfaction या improvement on such areas which organizations has a goal for, right? Overall. So एक तो आपका इंडिविजुअल ग्रोथ हो रहा है, एक आपके डिपार्टमेंट का ग्रोथ हो रहा है, एक आपके फंक्शन का ग्रोथ हो रहा है, जिस भी फंक्शन में आप हो, सेल्स में, मार्केटिंग में, एंड देन ओवरऑल इम्पैक्ट इट शुड हैव इट ऑन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑल्सो. right? So that's what it is going to do. Stage 2 says that use a range of methods to assess and evaluate the contribution of learning. So now this fellow says that every individual should be able to undergo different kind of assessment method or evaluation method, ये देखने के लिए कि क्या क्या contribution उनकी learning का organization के लिए हो रहा है. What is the impact they are able to create for a long term period for organization. Third stage कहती है establish the most relevant approach for your organization. Number 1 is return on investment measures, जो हम बात कर चुके हैं. चारों चीज़ें जो मैट्रिक्स में लिखी थी, रिटर्न ऑन expectations measure, building and benchmarking of capacity, and last is learning function measure. अगर इंटरनल लर्निंग फंक्शन चल रहा है, सपोज आपका डिपार्टमेंट जिसके थ्रू आप ट्रेनिंग्स दे रहे हो, दैट्स एन इंटरनल प्लेटफॉर्म. यू नॉट इन्वाइटेड एनीबडी फ्रॉम एक्सटर्नल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन टू कंडक्ट द ट्रेनिंग. तो आपका अपना लर्निंग डिपार्टमेंट का फंक्शन का मेजर भी होगा ना, कि कितने लोगों को ट्रेन किया, क्या सक्सेसफुल रेशो रहा आपका ट्रेनिंग करने का, राइट. सो फॉर एग्जांपल आपकी एम्प्लॉयज़ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के अंदर 500 एम्प्लॉयज़ हैं, राइट. फर्स्ट ईयर में आपका टारगेट था कि एटलीस्ट यू हैव टू गिव ट्रेनिंग टू 100 पीपल. तो जनरली पीपल बेस्ड ट्रेनिंग का टारगेट नहीं होता, जनरली मैन आवर्स होता है ट्रेनिंग का टारगेट, कि इतने मैन आवर्स आपने ट्रेनिंग के दिए हैं लोगों को. तो मैन आवर्स इज नॉट बेस्ड ऑन पर इंडिविजुअल, मैन आवर्स इज बेस्ड ऑन कि कितने लोगों को ट्रेनिंग पहुंच गई है, कितने घंटे की ट्रेनिंग आपने करी है एवरी डे. सो दैट इज़ द काइंड ऑफ टारगेट थिंग. सो नाउ सपोज 100 एम्प्लॉयज़ को आपने ट्रेनिंग देना था, आपने फर्स्ट ईयर में कर लिया. ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम 2-3 साल के अंदर आपने 500 लोगों को प्रॉपर्ली ट्रेन कर दिया, राइट. सो आफ्टर यू हैव लेफ्ट दैट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, व्हाट विल यू से अबाउट यू दैट यू ट्रेन 500 एम्प्लॉयज़ of an organization over a period of 3 years. So that means your training programs that you designed or you delivered impacted a number of people who were there. So 500 employees, that is being impacted by the training programs that you have done. So that's your learning function measure, right. So these are the 4 ways through which we do this evaluation. Now training and development का बाकी है HR फंक्शंस पे क्या क्या मेजर क्या आता है इम्पैक्ट, राइट. दैट्स व्हाट इट टॉक्स अबाउट. सो अगर रिक्रूटमेंट की बात कर रहे हैं, सो अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ ट्रेनिंग कैन एड रिक्रूटमेंट. हाउ इट कैन हेल्प एड रिक्रूटमेंट, कैसे हेल्प कर सकता है रिक्रूटमेंट को बेटर करने में, अगर ट्रेनिंग एंड डेवलपमेंट डिपार्टमेंट है आपके पास या
because we will know what is the demand, and according to that we will create our job descriptions.
Okay, good. That is one thing. And not just job description, but you can see कि job description के basis पे 100% capacity वाला कोई नहीं मिल रहा है. So we are able to hire 60-70% of people also, right. So that 30% which is missing in their competency or skill, we can easily give them training on that, right. So that has an impact on recruitment. Second point says that recruitment may provide sources of trainings, right. आप अच्छे रिक्रूटमेंट जब भी करते हो जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन के हिसाब से, देन आप उसी टाइम आपको पता चल जाता है कौन से एम्प्लॉय की कितनी कॉम्पिटेंसी है, right. So you fill your first competency metrics when you're hiring an employee in the organization. So it gives a very clear idea about how many trainings are required for these people who have just hired. Okay? So that's an impact on recruitment, on training and development. Second आता है selection के टाइम पे. Selection के टाइम पे हम क्या कर सकते हैं? 2 points again. Availability of training may permit hiring of less qualified applications, right. कि अगर कोई लेस क्वालिफाइड भी है, आप इंटरव्यू ले रहे हो, इंटरव्यू में यू फाइंड आउट दैट दीज 2 थिंग्स इसको प्रॉपरली नहीं आता है, सेल्स से रिलेटेड या मार्केटिंग से रिलेटेड या पैकेजिंग से रिलेटेड, वॉट एवर द फंक्शन इज. सो यू नो कि बाकी सब चीज़ों में ही इज़ वेरी गुड, दीज 2 एरियाज आर लिटिल वीक, सो वी कैन बी एबल टू बूस्ट दीज 2 एरियाज थ्रू ट्रेनिंग ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. सेकेंड पॉइंट सिलेक्शन का कहता है इफेक्टिव सिलेक्शन में रिड्यूस ट्रेनिंग नीडेड, राइट. अगर आपका सिलेक्शन मेथड बहुत अच्छा है तो जो ट्रेनिंग की रिक्वायरमेंट है उसको भी कम कर देता है, राइट. वेदर यू आर कंडक्टिंग टेस्ट, यू आर कंडक्टिंग साइकोमेट्रिक टेस्ट, एटीट्यूड टेस्ट, for hiring good people in the organization, that means your chances of making mistakes of hiring is very less. So that means कि लोगों को ट्रेनिंग की ज़रूरत भी कम पड़ेगी. फिर परफॉर्मेंस अप्रेजल से रिलेटेड तो पता ही आप लोगों को डायरेक्टली क्या होता है. ट्रेनिंग एंड डेवलपमेंट एड्स इन अचीवमेंट्स ऑफ परफॉर्मेंस स्टैंडर्ड्स. सो आपकी ट्रेनिंग के थ्रू यू कैन इंक्रीज द वे पीपल्स परफॉर्मेंस एंड प्रोडक्टिविटी हैज. Second point, it says that performance appraisal provides basis for determining. So as I told you, TNI आपका जैसे ही आपका performance appraisals हो जाते हैं, आपको पता चल जाता है किसकी वैल्यू से, इवेल्युएशन से किसका मेजरमेंट सही रहा, किसका मैट्रिक्स मैच हुआ, किसका नहीं. देन आता है कॉम्पनसेशन मैनेजमेंट, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सो ट्रेनिंग एंड डेवलपमेंट कैन लीड टू हायर पे. करेक्ट. अगर आपने एक अच्छी ट्रेनिंग अटेंड कर ली है, you have become much more professional in that skill or that area where you require training, that means there are chances that your next performance appraisal would be much better, because you will be able to implement those skills also and your results will be much better, right? Then compensation can motivate training efforts. Again, a very larger impact of compensation on training is कि जब लोगों को आप ये बताते हैं कि ट्रेनिंग अटेंड करने के बाद आपकी इम्प्रूवमेंट होगी, उस इम्प्रूवमेंट से आपको पैसा ज़्यादा मिलेगा, तो उसका इम्पैक्ट ये होता है कि नेक्स्ट टाइम व्हेन दे अटेंड सम ट्रेनिंग एंड डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम्स दे फील मोटिवेटेड टुवर्ड्स दैट. देन आता है लेबर रिलेशंस, विच इज़ योर लेबर लॉज दैट यू हैव डन. सो उस पर क्या काम करता है, ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम में इंक्लूड अ रोल फॉर द यूनियन. जब भी आप शॉप लेवल एम्प्लॉयज़ को ट्रेनिंग देते हैं, यू हैव टू टेक परमिशन फ्रॉम यूनियंस इफ दे आर अ पार्ट ऑफ यूनियन. ऑल द एम्प्लॉयज़ वर्किंग ऑन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इंडस्ट्री एट द जूनियर मोस्ट लेवल, एग्जीक्यूशन लेवल पे, जनरली अगर वो परमानेंट रोल पे हैं कंपनी के, सो इट्स इम्पॉर्टेंट दैट दे वुड बी अ पार्ट ऑफ सम यूनियन. देयर आर फ्यू यूनियंस विच आर इम्पैक्टफुल ऑल ओवर इंडिया. कुछ स्टेट वाइज काम करती हैं, कुछ नेशनल यूनियंस हैं. एवरी एम्प्लॉई पार्ट होता ही है उनका. सो वेन एवर यू आर डिज़ाइनिंग अ ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम, जनरली आपको जो यूनियन रिप्रेजेंटेटिव होते हैं उनके ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के अंदर, उनसे उनका कंसेंट लेना होता है. दे डिसाइड विद HR. देन आता है आपका यूनियन कोऑपरेशन कैन फैसिलिटेट ट्रेनिंग एफर्ट्स. अगर यूनियन कोऑपरेट करती है ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम्स होने में, सो ऑब्वियसली ट्रेनिंग के एफर्ट्स बढ़ जाते हैं. इट हेल्प्स इम्प्रूविंग. मैनी यूनियंस पहले बहुत हिंड्रेंस डालते थे, ट्रेनिंग को काम ही नहीं पूरा करने देते थे, कभी ट्रेनिंग पूरे सक्सेसफुली हो ही नहीं पाते थे. उन्हें लगता था आई डोंट नो कि क्यों ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस आर ऑर्गेनाइजिंग दिस ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम्स. बट ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम यूनियंस हैव बिकम मच मोर evolved. People who have become union leaders or people who have become national body union leaders, generally these people are also very educated. So उनके पास भी law degrees होती हैं generally, so they are very educated in terms of their skills set and their understanding. So इसीलिए उनको समझ आता है कि employees को कितना benefit मिलेगा हर organization. Right, so this is the impact of training and development in all the functions, and that's all. Now it's time for practicing it. So I'll send you a case study. Get time, prepare it before Saturday, because Saturday को हम compensation and benefit शुरू करेंगे. I don't want any topic to be left. That is the reason this extra class was introduced. अगर लगा मुझे Saturday Sunday को भी कि अगर हमारा पूरा कोर्स फिर भी complete नहीं हो पा रहा है, so there are chances that next Wednesday also we will incorporate one more extra class. Right, because I don't want to leave you in lurch without completing all the things thoroughly. At least जो भी बचा है उसको पूरा प्रॉपर्ली जाना जाए. तो ज़्यादा कुछ बचा नहीं. आई थिंक कॉम्पनसेशन बेनिफिट इज लेफ्ट, HR metrics is left. HR metrics are important and strategy human resource. All three important topics are left. So this weekend we will try and finish compensation completely, and then हमारे पास नेक्स्ट वीकेंड है उसके बाद. हाँ, नेक्स्ट वीकेंड पे हम कर लेंगे स्ट्रैटेजी. वेडनेसडे को कर लेते हैं क्लास, है ना. टेल सर इन एडवांस. सेम 1.5 hour class, not really much, and then we'll be able to complete. Right. Your evaluation I am planning on either Saturday 16th or 17th of April, because उससे पहले क्लासेस के टाइम पर evaluation करने का मौका नहीं मिलेगा. So we are planning, I'll speak to sir on 17th Sunday. I am thinking because Sunday most of you would be free, and if it's possible morning hours, because evening में हम नया बैच स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं. So morning hours पे you'll be able to do. So something like 10 to 12 or 11 to 1, whatever works for you, you'll be able to do that. Okay, that works for all of you?
Yes, ma'am. That's okay
Yes,
for me.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Alright, good.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
prepare well. Your question answers would be on the basis of a case study. That case study will be shared with you in advance, at least one day in advance. You will just have to prepare thoroughly about that case study, then few question answers, and then we have a guest lecturer who will come and ask questions on HR. Looks like you're a professional HR.
Ma'am, your
I think
network
there is a
is
time
not.
for the next training to start.
Ma'am, your network is not.
I'll repeat it on next Saturday class.
Okay, ma'am.
I think the new training has to start at 8:30, so we have to look.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
ma'am.
Good night, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.